Good morning, everyone. My name is Laura. If you are new here, welcome. If you are not, welcome back. Thanks for clicking on this video. So it is bright and early. I got up at like 6 in the morning, which usually I get up around 7. So I'm just like feeling super out of it. But I'm sure 6 a.m. is not very early for many of you. So the sun is still rising behind me, and since I got up about an hour earlier than I usually do, I was just kind of walking around my house before I started work for the day and just kind of checking on my plants, seeing if anyone needed water, when I stumbled upon my Hoya David Kamingii just in shambles. I think it got underwatered, and then when I watered it, it just got overwatered and rotted. You know when a plant doesn't get water for a while, like it's underwatered, the roots kind of start drying up, and then when you water it, it just rots. I think that's what happened to it, and so I started chopping it up. I have it in just like pieces right now, but then I realized I should probably show you what I'm doing. So I'm already threw away the dead parts of the plant, but I'm gonna go pull it out of the trash. It's the only thing in there, so it's not like gross, but I'm gonna go pull it out of the trash, show you what the plant looked like, and then just walk you through how I rescue plants that are not looking good. So this is what I do for most of my plants when I stumble upon a plant that's not doing well, because oftentimes you can save a plant that looks like it's on the brink of death or looks like it might already have crossed that threshold into death. But this is kind of what the plant was looking like, plus these like healthy strands. So let me pull out the healthy strand. I chopped this off kind of like the main thing. So the healthy strands were looking good, but this is what some of it was looking like. So if you can see, it's very yellow. Some of the leaves are very wrinkly. You can just tell that that is rot. Here's a good example too of this leaf right there. It's just like wrinkly and rotted. So I pulled it out of the soil, and to no one's surprise, the roots look rough. They look dry, they look sad, and I had just watered this guy maybe like, I don't know, 3 or 4 days ago, so the roots shouldn't look like this, which makes me think that it was underwatered and then overwatered. So yeah, that's what that was looking like. This is all dead, and I know that because the stem, let's see if you can kind of see, it looks very thin, almost bark-like, and the leaves are not very healthy. And when you cut into a stem that looks like that, let me just show you. When you cut into a stem that looks like that, you'll get like nothing coming out of that stem, no like sap or whatever. Whereas a healthy plant will like ooze out some stuff from the stem. There's nothing. I'll show you on the healthy part of the Hoya, but this is not alive. So I took this, threw that part away, this whole dead chunk, and then I cut off the one strand that looked healthy. And this was divided into 2 strands. It's kind of like that. And then I've already kind of cut some pieces off. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this strand, both of these strands, I guess, and I'm gonna cut them into sections where there's about 1 node per section, so that I can then root them up separately. And that gives me more chances for success in case one of them rots. So if I could try to root this whole thing, but I'm not going to do that, because if one of these rots, for example, then it's more likely that I'll lose the whole plant, if that makes sense. And this is not like a rare Hoya, but it is a more uncommon Hoya, and I don't want to lose it, you know, I really don't want to lose it. And it has some good aerial roots, so I feel pretty good about its survival. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go through, and in between each node, so you can see each node is kind of like the bump where the aerial roots coming out and where the leaves are growing from. I'm gonna cut so this is the bottom of it. I'm gonna cut so that there's enough to stick in moss, which is how I'm gonna regrow this plant. And then not leave a ton of stem at the top, if that makes sense. So let's take a snip here so that you can see how Hoyas will kind of bleed that white sap. See? That's not something that dead one was doing. So that's how I know that other plant was just, or that other section of the plant was dead. So I'm gonna take this chunk, set it aside, and just keep doing that down the stem of the plant. And I'm setting them on a paper towel so that it kind of absorbs the sap. So this white stuff, and I've gotten comments about this before, From Hoyas, this stuff that leaks out of the plant is not harmful. From peperomias, it's not harmful. For most plants, it is. So be very careful not to ingest it, get it in your eyes, not to have a pet lick it. So again, from Hoyas and peperomias, it's not toxic. But from most other plants, especially like ficus, so like your rubber trees, it's very, very toxic. Can be, even to the skin, can be like an irritant. And so just be careful depending on the plant you're cutting out. But that's why I'm treating this so like kind of haphazardly, because again, with Hoyas, it is not toxic. So I'm just gonna keep doing this down the stem until I run out of places to cut. So now I am here, and even though I have more nodes left, so you can see that's a node, that's a node, that's a node, I'm just going to stop here because with my Hoyas, I don't like rooting like wet sticks of Hoyas. You can do that with philodendron, but I have never had success with Hoyas. So I'm personally gonna just leave at least one leaf on each cut that I do. So that was it for that strand. And next we have this other one, so we'll do the same thing. This one's only gonna be 2 cuts because of the leaf situation. So we've got this and this. Oh, I realize I'm holding that way above the camera. Okay, so now I have my pile of cuts, which I will show you. It's kind of what that looks like. They're each at least 1 leaf, 1 node, and some aerial root. So now I'm gonna go grab some moss and show you what I'm gonna do with all of these to turn them hopefully into a healthy plant again. So I got a little glass jar. I either root in glass jars or like plastic cups, but I had this little yogurt glass jar laying around, so I thought I'd use it. Hopefully it's big enough. If you'd like a more detailed video on how I do all my propagations in sphagnum or how I root Hoyas up, I will link those either in the cards above or in the description box, because this isn't gonna super go into detail. Okay, I'll stick my little plant in here one at a time. I'm gonna try to make sure that the aerial roots are at least touching the moss so that they are more likely to root up. There's not really like a method to the madness. I just kind of stick them in wherever. But yeah, like I was saying, this is a really good method for most types of plants. I've done this with philodendron, and I've done this with different epipremnums. I've done this with Hoya. It's just a good way to save a plant if it is not looking good. So here is what this looks like now that I'm done sticking the little cuttings in there. And all my plants that go through this process are gonna be put in my IKEA greenhouse cabinet to kind of grow out. Since it's pretty humid in there, I've found a lot more success in rescuing plants in there. So yeah, that's it. That's it for this. I'll give you an update if I see some positive growth. I'm sure I will. I'm sure that maybe not all of these cuttings will make it, but at least half of them will. So thanks for rescuing my plant with me today, and hopefully this was helpful. If you have a plant that you're not sure what to do with, that's not looking very good, just cut it up and regrow it. That's always the best option in my experience. So thanks so much for watching. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. It lets me know what kind of content to make for you, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.